Nobody escapes CECOT, not the men inside it, and not the men who guard it. And once you understand that, once it settles into your bones, you understand everything about this place. Because it was built on a single idea, an idea so simple and so total that it reorganized an entire country around it. The idea is this. Some doors are only meant to open one way. You walk in, you do not walk out. And it does not matter whether you walked in wearing chains or wearing a uniform, whether you came as the punished or as the punisher, because the place takes something from everyone who passes through its gates, and it never, ever gives it back. This is the story of how you go in. And it is the story of how you learn, slowly, in the worst way a person can learn anything, that going in was the easy part. Begin with the country, because you cannot understand the prison without understanding the fear that built it. For 30 years, this was one of the most dangerous places on earth to be alive. The gangs did not hide in the shadows. They owned the daylight. They ran the neighborhoods like private kingdoms, taxing the bus drivers and the shopkeepers and the old women selling fruit, deciding who lived and who died, with a casualness that hollowed out an entire generation. Mothers counted their sons the way other people count money, always aware of how quickly the number could drop. A wrong look could end you. A wrong street could end you. Being young and male in the wrong place at the wrong hour could end you. The murder rate made the country famous for the worst possible reason, and the people, worn down past the point of caring how the fear ended as long as it ended, waited for someone to promise them safety. And then someone did. The state of exception came down like a blade. Overnight, the old rules, the warrants and the phone calls and the lawyers and the slow grinding machinery of proof, all of it simply dissolved. In its place came one instruction, carried out with terrifying efficiency. Take them all. And so the arrests began, and they did not come in the dozens. They came in the tens of thousands, then the hundreds of thousands, a scale of confinement the modern world had not seen. Soldiers pulled young men off buses and out of bedrooms and off street corners, sometimes for the ink on their skin, sometimes for a tip from a neighbor with a grudge, sometimes for reasons no one ever bothered to write down. The existing prisons filled in a week. They overflowed in 2, and the people who had promised safety understood that they needed somewhere to put the flood, somewhere that could hold the unholdable, somewhere the world would look at and understand that the fear was finally over. So they built it. Out on a flat plain, ringed by sleeping volcanoes, miles from any town that would have to look at it, they raised the largest prison in the hemisphere, and they gave it a name that told you exactly what it was for. A place for the ones the state had decided were beyond saving. Now walk in. Feel the buses first, because everything here begins with the buses. They arrive in convoys, at dawn and at midnight, and at hours that exist only inside these walls, and the men come off them in lines of hundreds. Their heads are already shaved to the white of the scalp. Their hands are bound. Their clothes are gone, replaced by white that makes them identical, that erases the last small differences between one human being and the next. They move folded over, heads down, hands on the shoulders of the man in front, choreographed into a single organism with 1,000 bent necks, because looking up is not permitted, and standing straight is not permitted, and being an individual is the first thing this place takes from you. You are photographed, you are logged. Your name, the name your mother gave you, the name that carried your whole life, is taken and replaced with a number. And from that moment on, administratively, legally, in every way that the world recognizes, the name is dead and the number is alive. You have not been in the building 5 minutes and already the person you were is beginning to disappear. And here is where you have to hold 2 truths at once, because this place will not let you keep things simple. Some of the men coming off those buses are exactly what the country was promised. They are killers. They made widows for a living and slept soundly afterward. They wear their crimes tattooed across their throats like signatures. And for them, the fear that built this place was not a story. It was a business they ran. But not all of them. Not nearly all of them. Some of the men in those lines are nobody at all. A teenager swept up in a cordon because he lived on the wrong street on the wrong night. A vendor arrested because a tip filled someone's monthly quota. A father taken for a faded tattoo from a stupid youth that had nothing to do with any gang. And the machine does not distinguish. It cannot afford to. The buses do not slow down to sort the guilty from the innocent, because slowing down is not what the buses are for. Everyone gets the same shaved head. Everyone gets the same number. Everyone disappears into the same enormous, indifferent mouth. And no document anywhere on Earth will ever fully explain to the innocent man why he is here. Because in this system, the trial was the slow, expensive road that the state decided to stop building. Inside, the geography of your new world is small and total. 8 pavilions squat behind walls you cannot see over, ringed by fences, ringed by gates, ringed by towers with rifles that never lower. Your cell is a cage of bars and steel, and it holds far more men than any cell was ever meant to hold. You sleep stacked on bare metal tiers. No mattress, no sheet, no pillow, no softness of any kind. Your body learning the shape of the metal until the metal becomes the shape of your body. And the lights never turn off. Not at noon, not at 3 in the morning, not on holidays, not on the day your mother dies somewhere you will never be told about, not ever. There are no windows to the outside world. There is no yard, no exercise, no sun on your skin, no visits, no letters, no phone calls, no calendar that means anything, no way to mark the passage of time except the count and the meals and the endless white light. You leave the cell only to be counted, and even then you move in silence, because silence is the rule, and a silent block is a calm block, and a calm block is a block that stays out of the news. You learn the place in an order that never varies. You learn the smell first, the smell of too many bodies and too little air, and disinfectant fighting a war it will never win. Then you learn the sound, which is worse, the low, unending ocean of hundreds of men breathing in a sealed concrete box, a sound you will hear behind your own thoughts for the rest of whatever life you have left. Then you learn the silence, and you learn how heavy silence can be, how much weight 1,000 men can press into the simple act of saying nothing. And in that silence, you begin to understand the deepest truth of the place, the one nobody tells you at the gate. This prison was not built to correct you. It was not built to rehabilitate you or reform you or return you one day wiser to the world. There is no door at the far end. There is no program that ends in release. It was built to hold you, permanently, and to be seen holding you, because you are not really a prisoner here. You are a message. Because CECOT is a symbol before it is a building, and you are the ink it is written in. The cameras come, and they come often. Foreign film crews and domestic news and officials in pressed shirts who have never smelled the inside of a working block. And on those days, the men are arranged in flawless rows, shaved and silent and identical. A sea of bent heads that photographs like order itself, like a promise finally kept, like the end of 30 years of fear made visible in a single frame. And a frightened country watches that footage and feels, for the first time in a generation, something that resembles safety. Mothers walk to the market again without counting which sons will come home. The buses run after dark. The terror that ruled the streets for 3 decades has been, in one brutal stroke, snapped in half. And this is the part that will not let you rest, whichever side of the bars you are on. That relief is real. The safety is real. The country genuinely is, by the only measure most people use, better. And it is also true that this place swallows the guilty and the innocent with the exact same indifference. That it is built so that a blameless man can never prove he is blameless. That its very design makes justice not just unlikely but impossible. Both things are true at once. They do not cancel. And everyone here, the prisoner and the guard alike, has to find a way to carry both of them, one in each hand, for the rest of their lives. Now understand the men in black, because the trap is not only for the ones in white. The guard came here the same way you came to everything in a poor country, because the pay was steady and the work was permanent. He has a mother too. He has a child on the way. Training lasted weeks, not months, and in those weeks they taught him to march and to search a body in 30 seconds, and to never, ever speak to a prisoner by name. They taught him that the men inside are not men. They are numbers. They are gang. They are the reason his cousin was buried at 19. And they gave him a black uniform and a balaclava, and told him that his own face is now a state secret, that he will never appear in a photograph, that his family will never know which prison he works in, that if he ever speaks about what happens inside these walls, he will find himself living inside them. He raised his hand. He swore to protect the nation, and he walked through the same gate you did, believing he was on the safe side of it. He was wrong. There is no safe side of that gate. There is only the side that gets destroyed quickly, and the side that gets destroyed slowly. Watch what the place does to him, because it is its own kind of sentence. On his first nights on the catwalk above the tiers, he still flinches. A face tilts up toward him through the bars and finds his eyes through the slit in the mask, and holds them, and he looks away, and he tells himself it means nothing. But the looking away is a skill, and like any skill, it improves with practice. Month by month, he stops flinching. He learns to walk above 1,000 suffering men the way a man walks above machinery, aware of it, responsible for it, no longer moved by it. He learns that mercy is a currency, and he is told to spend it rarely. He learns that a prisoner asking for a doctor is a decision he can make with a shrug, that the request can travel up the chain or die in his pocket, and no one will ever ask. He learns to sign the paper when a man dies in a cell, the paper that says the same calm word every time, and he learns to sign it without reading it, and then he learns to sign it without feeling it, and that second lesson is the one that costs him his soul, quietly, on an ordinary shift, with no one watching. And the deepest cruelty of the design is that it works on him the same way it works on you. It makes his world smaller too. He cannot tell his wife what he did today, so he tells her it was quiet, and the lie becomes a wall between them, and the wall gets a little higher every shift. He starts living in 2 countries at once, the country of his home and the country of the block, and the border between them runs straight through his own chest. He drinks a little more. He sleeps a little less. He stops being able to explain himself to the people who love him, because the things he has seen and the things he has done have no translation in the language of an ordinary life. He is not behind bars, but he is not free either. He is serving a sentence with no number on it, in a uniform instead of white, and when he finally leaves, years from now, with a pension and a handshake and a stack of papers demanding his silence forever, he will discover that he cannot leave. Not really. That the block came home with him, that the smell and the sound and the white light live behind his eyes now, and will not be evicted. The prison does not punish only the prisoners. It hollows out everyone who serves it, slowly, from the inside, until there is nothing left but the uniform and the silence. And the machine grows hungry beyond its own borders, because a place this efficient at making people disappear becomes a product the world will pay for. Word comes down that the facility will begin taking prisoners from other countries, men deported under agreements signed in capitals no one here will ever see, men whose own governments have decided that the cleanest solution to an inconvenient person is to pay to have him vanish somewhere far away and lawless. They arrive on planes now, not just buses. Some speak languages no one on staff understands. Some have no gang history at all, no charges that would survive an hour in the country that sent them. Sent here anyway because a foreign government wanted them gone, and this country offered itself, for a fee, as the place where the world's unwanted are made to disappear. And whether you are the prisoner processing this in a cell or the guard processing it at a desk, you see the full shape of the thing now. This is no longer about your country's safety at all. This has become an export. Not justice, not even punishment. Disappearance, guaranteed and deniable and photogenic, complete with footage for the evening news. And somewhere far above everyone who can actually see the inside of this place, men are getting very rich on the difference between what it costs to bury a human being here and what other nations will pay to have it done. So let the years pass, because this is the part the cameras never show, the part that has no dramatic footage. Nothing here is fast. The prisoner's sentence is not measured in the events the outside world imagines. It is measured in the sameness, in the white light that never changes, in the meals that mark a time that has stopped meaning anything, in the slow erosion of a self that has no mirror to check itself against, and no visitor to remember who it was. You forget the sound of your own name, because no one has said it in years. You forget your mother's face, not all at once, but a feature at a time, until you are guarding a blur and calling it memory. You have conversations in your head with people who will never hear them. And the man in black above you is aging too, on his own parallel track, his knees going, his sleep gone, his marriage a formality, both of you trapped in the same box on opposite sides of the same bars, both of you disappearing at the same rate, and neither of you able to say a single word to the other about the thing you are sharing, which is the slow theft of your one and only life. And it does not end, and that is the whole point. That is the thing the name was always promising. There is no release date to count down to. There is no far door. The prisoner does not walk out reformed, because reform was never on the menu, was never even in the building. The best he can hope for is to become a ghost while still breathing, to be so completely erased that even the machine forgets he is here. An old number in a cell, tending a self that the world stopped believing in long ago. And the guard does not escape either, because the uniform is its own cell, and the silence he swore to keep becomes the silence he will die inside, alone with things he can never say. Nobody escapes CECOT. The men in white do not escape it. The men in black do not escape it. The country that built it does not escape it, because a nation learns something about itself when it discovers how easily it can make its problems disappear, and that knowledge, once learned, does not leave. It waits. It becomes a habit. It becomes a business. It becomes a thing other frightened countries come to study and to copy and to build for themselves. And out on that flat plain, ringed by sleeping volcanoes, the towers still stand, and the rifles still never lower, and the lights still never turn off. The buses still arrive at dawn and at midnight in their endless convoys, and the planes still land, full of the shaved and the bound, the guilty and the innocent and the foreign, indistinguishable now even to themselves. And somewhere in a training hall, a new recruit is signing his name, believing the men inside are not men, believing his face must become a secret, believing he will keep his country safe and keep his own hands clean, and that the two will turn out to be the same thing. And somewhere on a bus, a new nobody sits, with his head shaved and his hands bound, telling himself there has been a mistake, that someone will realize, that this door, unlike all the others, will open both ways for him. It won't. It never has. The machine does not make mistakes it is willing to admit, and it does not open the door it was built to close. He is about to learn what everyone here learns, in the worst way a person can learn anything. That going in was the easy part. That the walls were never the prison. That the prison was the erasure, patient and total and permanent, of everyone the place ever touched. Nobody escapes CECOT. That was always the promise. And a promise, at least, is the one thing this place has always kept.